Welcome to our channel. Did Jennifer Aniston warn Angelina Jolie about Brad Pitt's hidden side? It would be an understatement if one were to say that Jennifer Aniston was a mess after her split from Brad Pitt. The news that followed the announcement of their separation was even more devastating as tabloids published stories of his union with Angelina Jolie. But it looks like the Friends star might have dropped a subtle hint to Jolie about a hidden side to Brad Pitt that only she was probably aware of. It would be an understatement if one were to say that Jennifer Aniston was a mess after her split from Brad Pitt. The news that followed the announcement of their separation was even more devastating as tabloids published stories of his union with Angelina Jolie. But it looks like the Friends star might have dropped a subtle hint to Jolie about a hidden side to Brad Pitt that only she was probably aware of. Before we get to it, though, here's a quick rundown of things that reportedly transpired, right from Aniston's first interaction with Jolie up to her split from Pitt and the media storm that followed. Aniston reportedly met Jolie for the first and only time, yet at the Warner Brothers parking lot while filming for her hit sitcom, Friends. She introduced herself to Jolie and then told her how excited Brad Pitt, her then-husband, was to work with her on their upcoming project, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She wished Jolie the best, and that was the end of their interaction. Recollecting their brief meet, Jennifer Aniston said, "It was on a lot of Friends. I pulled over and introduced myself. I said, Brad is so excited about working with you. I hope you guys have a really good time." Mr. and Mrs. Smith went on the floors in January 2004 and production went on up until September of that year. In that time frame, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie had been romantically linked multiple times. While it was incessantly refuted, what further fueled the speculation was the separation announcement by Pitt and Jennifer Aniston in January 2005. And while it was said at the time that the Angelina Jolie affair rumors had nothing to do with it, what made matters worse was Pitt and Jolie going public with their relationship shortly after his divorce was confirmed. How they opted to go public was even worse as they announced that they were expecting their first child together. Around the same time, Pitt and Jolie were seen in Africa with Jolie's adopted child. The news of the adoption kickstarted a rumor that the reason for the Pitt-Aniston split was the latter's lack of interest in motherhood over her career. Furthermore, there were reports of her being biologically incapable of bearing children. Speaking to Vanity Fair about the rumors, Aniston said, "A man divorcing would never be accused of choosing career over children. That really pissed me off. I've never in my life said I didn't want to have children. I did, and I do, and I will. The women that inspire me are the ones who have careers and children. Why would I want to limit myself? I've always wanted to have children, and I would never give up that experience for a career. I want to have it all." The accounts of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie with her adopted child were published by W magazine with the header "Domestic Bliss." While the average human being would be miffed over it as it hinted at domestic turmoil being the root of the Pitt-Aniston split, Jennifer Aniston shrugged it off, adding that Brad Pitt wasn't sensitive enough to look into the implications of such things. Speaking about the W magazine report, Aniston said, "Is it odd timing? Yeah. But it's not my life. He makes his choices. He can do whatever. We're divorced and you can see why. I can also imagine Brad having absolutely no clue why people would be appalled by it. Brad is not mean-spirited. He would never intentionally try to rub something in my face. In hindsight, I can see him going, oh, I can see that that was inconsiderate. But I know Brad. Brad would say, that's art." She ended that particular line of discussion with something that also seemed like a warning of sorts, saying, "There's a sensitivity chip that's missing." This felt like a public service announcement from Jennifer Aniston's end, possibly to Angelina Jolie, making her aware of a relatively hidden side to Brad Pitt.